Hey everyone, my name is Rose and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to take you through the process of sewing a ruffled shirt. So this is going to be something that's really nice and airy and spring inspired, even though that we're still kind of in our colder season here in the Netherlands. I'm thinking of, holiday and vacation and warmer weather. And I have seen this shirt on Pinterest and it's just, I keep thinking about it. It's like haunting me and it needs to be made. So the past couple weeks, I've also been working on projects for other people. They've been more like like some of my clients and friends, and I make things for people's birthdays. So I'm back to making something for myself, which is uh, my favorite, the best thing. My favorite thing is to make stuff for myself. And I know there's a lot of other sewers out there who also agree and agree with me with this. But I give you like a little inspiration image of the top that I'm kind of looking to create. And I've been kind of studying it on and off today. And I kind of have come up with like a game plan. So I really don't want to make a bunch of these. I only want to make one. So what's going to happen is all of the fabric layers, all of the ruffles, and there's a lot of shirred pieces, they're all going to be sewn on top of a base layer. So the base layer is the part that I'm kind of going to perfect and make sure I enjoy the fit. So you can see here I've already done the back. The side and the back will have like an adjustable bow so you can come in and out of the garment. And if you need to make it looser or tighter, it grows with you. So that's really helpful as well. I have the black also laid out on the front. So you have like the little style lines. And I'm going to create the base layer, make sure that fits. So obviously make a right and left side. Maybe I'll transfer this to just some pattern paper just so that I have it just in case, but I'm not gonna make this ruffle thing more than once because it's so much work. So the base layer is what's gonna get perfected. And then I think what's gonna happen is I'm going to make all the ruffles, pin it on the dress form. Maybe I'll put it on myself so like it's a quick fit. And kind of go from there. So it's going to be like a working 12. And if I love it, I'll make another one. But we're only going for one fit today. So I'll take you along in the journey. I already have the style lines, so let's continue with that. Let me drape the front, clip the seam allowance for the back, and yeah, let's continue. I think we have a really good start. And I love hearing your comments. So if you have anything, please comment below and make sure to like and subscribe. So I know that people are out there watching the channel and enjoying my content. So let's get to sewing, let's get to draping, and let's continue with this. When you're beginning your draping project, there's a lot of things to keep in mind. And in here, I'm just trying to decide where I want the bust start. So at first, I put it on the empire seam. I thought this would be nice. However, after thinking about it, I thought maybe it's better to have it at the side seam because we're going to have a lot of fullness from the ruffles on that empire seam, and I didn't want to add anything to this. I didn't want to add any additional bulk, and I thought it would be much better at the side seam. So after I began to unpin and shift that fullness into the side seam, and that's much better. Flat pattern is done, and because this fabric is incredibly see-through, I have decided to double up the front and back. So it's kind of like adding a lining, I guess. And this is also to just ensure that it's really sturdy. I'm adding quite a bit of weight and ruffles to this, and I think that we really do need the extra support here. So this is the front. The inside is going to have just like the straight stitch at the dart, and the seam allowance is reduced and cut off. I think I'm just gonna go over this seam here with a zigzag, but the front I'm gonna do in a French seam. So I'm gonna go in and sew really close to the edge here. All my seam allowance is 3/8, so I really want to stick to that and not go overboard. I don't want this to be smaller. I want it to fit this dress form because it's pretty much my size. So then I'm going to go in and then sew like so. So the center front seam is completely covered. I'm going to attach the shoulders and the side seams and kind of go from here. Overall, it's fitting quite well. So I tried this on myself. And we're just gonna go along and wing this because it's working out. It's gonna work out. Stay positive, right? Okay, so there's a couple little things that I wanted to adjust for this. So at the shoulders, I'll add like a little clip here so it is a little bit wider on the front than on the back. So I'm just gonna kind of open this just a little bit. The armhole height or the depth like underneath is really nice. But then there's also this portion here where it is a bit strange. So this like almost like V, which is not really nice like when you're pattern making or sewing. No one really wants to sew these lines. So what I'm going to do is kind of smooth it out. So this is also like an erasable fabric marker. So I'm just gonna kind of do something a little bit more graceful. So something like so. So I'll kind of shave it off so it's more nice and sweeping. So there's going to be a ruffle here, a back ruffle that's going to go all the way around the waist. It's going to come up and then come right back around. And then there's going to be all ruffles from here all the way up. So it kind of widens the shoulder and then comes down the back. Comes down the back here, like in this V, like so. Right now, what I'm going to do is, yeah, these little small adjustments, I can make them on the flat pattern. So if I ever going to make this again, it's an easy fix. But I'm going to start cutting all of the ruffles. I think for now, I can just kind of rip. Let's see if this works out. I think I can rip everything, which would make it so much faster. So, long story short, I'm not able to rip the ruffles, so everything was cut by hand. But we're moving on to creating like this infinity bias, which I saw online and I had to try because I've been making bias for many years and doing it completely wrong, apparently. So what you do here is you create a box with your fabric. So this is just like equal distance from each side, and I'm just pulling the thread here just to make sure that I'm getting a straight cut. Our next bit that we do here is we cut a diagonal line, so from one point to the next point. After that is done, you're going to align the side seams, and sew like this. So you kind of get like a parallelogram after this is sewn. Our next step is we're moving on to marking the width of the bias that you want. So I believe I used a 1-inch wide bias. I do wish that I kind of upgraded and did like at least an eighth or a quarter of an inch more. So here I am, I'm just marking this, and you're starting from one long side to the top. So going all the way from the top to the bottom. And if there's like a little extra on top that you're left with, you're just going to remove that and cut that off. So that's not going to be used. Our next step here is joining the other two sides. So in theory, we're just going to have like one long continuous bias. So what you do is you offset the lines by one line, and you're going to overlap the seam allowance by, I believe it was like 1/2 centimeter. You can also make this like a little bit smaller. I think maybe I made mine 1/8 of an inch. And then that helps get your continuous bias. So here I am just pinning everything out, and then I went off to my sewing machine to sew that. Another really good step here is to go off to your iron and just press this seam open so everything is nice and neat. After everything is cut, you're just going to go in and begin to start from one edge and go all the way to the other because you're just cutting. This is creating one long bias tape. Then the last part here is going all the way down to the end and then pressing your bias in half and then in half again on either side. So you have that like bias fold. So I made sure all the ruffles were cut. I think this was about 3.5 inches wide. I made a baby hem on both the top and the bottom, and then I went and made sure to baste all of the ruffles, and then I gave it a nice little pull so that it has these beautiful gathers. The next stage was to add the bias, which was about 3/8 inch from the top edge. The next part is I'm adding the bottom ruffle to the bottom hem edge. So instead of like removing that weird corner, I ended up keeping it because this was actually exactly what I needed. So it went from side to side, and then I added the bias on top of this. So it connects all the way on top, all the way to the side, because this is going to tie in the back as well. So this bias went all the way to the hem edge. I ended up trying it on to make sure I needed the length, and I trimmed the remaining bias so that it tied around my waist perfectly. And then not pictured here is just me creating the shoestring, the really thin ties for the center back on the waist, and then also the center back on the neckline portion. So they tie and they adjust in the back. So this overall was really interesting and fun to sew. I think like at the end I kind of hated it, but now I'm wearing it and I'm kind of obsessed. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I am considering making this into an actual sample. So you'll see in a few moments the final garment, and I think my next sample will most likely be a dress. So this could be a pattern that I'm going to sell in the future, and I'm just glad that it converts easily to a dress. I think it's going to be really, really cute. I really hope you liked watching this. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and please comment below. I really love to see all of your comments, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good one. Bye.